also, Jacob has said it, there's so little care into that thought. The fact that this show is going like, what? Straight women like this? And both, I think, I was talking to you about this. I think there's both a chances element or like a statistic element of like in a straight relationship, if you're a straight woman, you don't fancy the gent in the story, or maybe you're not attracted to him.
Oh,
I
right.
think in our relationship, if I'm like, or like, oh, the Shane guy's not doing it for me, but that Russian, goddamn,
Right.
or vice versa, there just might be, a double chance that, there's an attraction there. But also, I think there's an element of, possibly women who, have maybe a desire to give up control. That is scary, and there's a lot of fear there. There's a fear of violence, and men are big and they're scary. But if they can live vicariously through the Shane character, they know there's inherent safety. There's, and I think that's possible. I'm a little bit
I also
I'm
think
theorizing, but
yeah, I also think that I was talking to Hannah, our costume designer, and because we were talking about that exact thing. I was like, wow, it's predominantly women from the book, and obviously, I think the gay men demographic has gone up because of the show, just because of the visibility, not knowing of the book beforehand. And she was like, well, I think that there's something about this type of story and this type of love and this type of sex that has a lot to do with this almost like prolonged foreplay and yearning, which kind of differs from this more pornographic idea of sex. And she's like, I think that's what the female audiences are really drawn to. And I think she was like, I think it's more so geared towards a feminine gaze.
right.
Which is super interesting because it's true. I mean, that's why we like romance.
Yeah.
It's not just the sex or whatever. It's the moments in between where you see desire and this pull towards vulnerability and connection.
I would also want to add, like, it made me think, like in a straight hetero normal romance, it's usually you fall into tropes and stereotypes where the woman is the communicator, and the guys, the closed off, that's usually the archetype we see. So I think that it's two men, it's, well, someone has to do the talk, like communication needs to happen. So like, which one of you motherfuckers is going to do it is sort of enticing, because they're like, so men are capable of having communication. They can get somewhere. They're not completely
right.
incompetent.
I saw something online
Yeah.
that was really interesting, and she said that it was an influencer or like a book talk personality talking about this, and she was like, the reason why women are so into stories that involve gay men is because they are so exhausted by the idea of straight men that like this is the only way that they get to see a form of masculinity that feels accessible and interesting to them, which I think is a cool point. Because it does turn the normal idea of masculinity on its head in a lot of different ways.